Welcome to SVG-TV News for Saturday, March 12, 2016. I'm Sharon Garraway with the details. Keep our heritage alive. That's the call being made by the second annual Schools National Garifuna Festival held yesterday at the Victoria Park. The event was hosted by the National Garifuna Heritage Foundation, TGHF, in collaboration with the Ministries of Education and Culture. President of TGHF, David Darkey Williams, in officially declaring the festival, said this year the foundation aimed to give students a chance to display their creativity. Williams said he is confident that the festival will engender a sense of value of SVG's heritage.
We hope that everything you present here today will further enhance the knowledge of those who do not know about this history of the Garifuna, and would further provide enlightenment for those of us who would go through the booths and view the history displays that are there. We would all come away from this place with something more enlightening, with a more enlightening spirit, with more knowledge of our traditions, our culture, and our history.
Coordinator of the festival, Maxine Brown, said the aim of the festival is to make learning history enjoyable through the arts. She also thanked the schools who participated, noting that this is a special way of preserving the Vincentian heritage.
We want you to remember this program. We want to give you all this experience and exposure now so that it will resonate with you. We want it to be etched in your minds. We want retentive minds or memories. We want you to remember. With this in mind, we plan to make this event an annual one. We do this for you now so that you can do it for us in the future. Keep our heritage alive. Teachers, students, it will be in your hands to make that difference. For it is important for us not to be like trees without roots. Rather, we need to be grounded in our heritage, our values, and our traditions. Let's continue to not only enhance, but celebrate our National Heroes and Heritage Month. Let us celebrate our rich Vincentian heritage.
Coordinator of the History Expo, Aldea Dyer, noted that there has been a decline in students pursuing history as a subject as they enter the fourth form. Dyer said that History Expo was designed to find creative ways of getting students interested in learning.
We are using programs like these to encourage students to conduct research so that as they prepare for these presentations, they have to go out and investigate, and then they themselves will be motivated to write more of our history. Finally, you will see that we are collaborating with other entities who have similar interests. I am sure that at the end of the day, we will have greater interest of our students and the Vincentian population by large in history in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
We now give you a highlight of some of the performances at the National Schools Garifuna Cultural Festival.
Welcome to Backway. Welcome to Backway. Higaboo, bookie, Higaboo, bookie, That's the location or anyone's situation. You can come, cause it's not any bro. I'm on the air, and it comes. together. We got to fight on. Imagine a time when teeth been unlocked. Europe is coming looking for war, back to back. Our national heroes put in sweat and blood to save we. Now it's our turn to keep this as an independent country. We want restitution for the way them treat we. We want restitution for the inhumane slavery.
The Senior Forestry Supervisor Cornelius Richards says his department is concerned with certain methods used to catch fish in some communities. Speaking to SVG Television News recently, Richards says some persons have now moved from traditional and safe fishing practices to what is considered as harmful practices.
What we've seen in recent times is a shift in the practice of fishing. Traditionally, we would use a very selective method where you use the baskets or you use certain implements to catch fish. You selectively catch the ones that you want. That practice is now pretty much going out of the window, unfortunately, and it is being replaced by mass culling of fish along rivers. Now, all these practices are not desirable, even more so that in most cases now poisons, harmful chemicals are being used to catch fish.
Richard urged local fisherfolk to refrain from fishing with harmful substances as it may be dangerous to consumers as well as the environment.
Those who ply their trade through fishing in our rivers, or those who do it from a recreational standpoint, to adhere to the prescribed method of catching fish and to desist from using deleterious substances such as chemicals and poisons for the purpose of catching fish. Not only is it detrimental to the wildlife in our rivers, where we've seen entire rivers flushed of all wildlife species because of poisons, but it's also dangerous to those who consume them. And so we're asking persons who are purchasing fish from individuals who ply the rivers to be very vigilant and to seek to understand the source and the method used for catching these fish. The department cannot implore to Vincentians enough that your health is important, but equally important is our environmental health, and that our rivers play a very important part in the environmental sustainability of our country.
A series of activities will be hosted here next week in commemoration of World Consumer Rights Day, which will be observed on March Tuesday, the 15th, 2016. World Consumer Rights Day was first celebrated in 1983 and became an important annual occasion for mobilizing citizen action and solidarity within the international consumer movement. The day is an opportunity for promoting the basic rights of all consumers, demanding that those rights are respected. It also aims to protect the market abuses and social injustices which undermine them as consumers. Speaking on the year's theme, antibiotics, off the menu, pharmacist Keisha Thompson, who is also the vice president of the SVG Pharmaceutical Association, said that in a world where there is bioterrorism, smart bacteria, and negligent humans, Vincentians need to become proactive to prevent themselves from becoming a risk to a plague that cannot be cured. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce, in partnering with a number of stakeholders locally to ensure the execution of activities on March 15th, is also in the planning. These partnerships include SVG Consumer Association in the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Health, the SVG Pharmaceutical Association, and the Standards Bureau. Officer in charge of the Animal Health Production Division, Dr. Michaela Carrasco, in her address says that the antibiotics are used in animal production to treat and prevent and cure animal diseases. She says that the threat to public health from the overuse of antibiotics in food is real and growing.
In Vincent and the Grenadines, livestock production is monitored by the Animal Health and Production Division. Antibiotics are used for the treatment, control, and prevention of illness and disease. The use of antibiotics as growth promoters is not practiced. Farmers are educated on good husbandry practices to help maintain healthy animals that do not require the use of antibiotics. When it is deemed necessary, antibiotics are prescribed and are used by trained professionals, and farmers are advised on the withdrawal periods for all animals treated to prevent the entry of antibiotics into the food chain in meat and animal products. While there is currently no antibiotic residual testing done locally, farmers' access to antibiotics is limited, and education and actions by the officers of the division assist in ensuring that our menus are free of antibiotics.
President of the SVG Consumer Association, Junior Bacchus, expressed his pleasure on behalf of his association to join with the various stakeholders to help Vincentians understand their rights as a consumer. He further urged the public to pay close attention to how to fight off antibiotics.
So you may think that the antibiotics may be only coming through the animal sector, but it is also possible that if you have antibiotics in animals, so like pigs or goat, they use feeds that contain antibiotics to get them to grow faster, you could very well find that from their feces, and a lot of us use the feces from the birds and some of these animals in our organic production of manure, as we call it, and that could be placed into our lands, which could then find its way back into the food chain by way of vegetables and so on. So it's a vicious cycle.
And as we wrap up the local news with more on heritage, students, teachers, parents, and other well-wishers of the C.W. Prescott School yesterday took part in the school's Heroes Day celebration under the theme, Preserving Our Heritage with Pride. In her brief remarks, Principal of the C.W. Prescott School, Gloria Glasgow, noted that the way persons live now stems from the way others lived before. She urged the students to strive to be successful as individuals who will make a contribution to the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Our speech, our beliefs, our customs, our mode of dress, we got them from someone, somewhere. And we ought to improve on them. We should continually better those things that were good. And those values and customs that we recognize to be evil or not good, we ought to eliminate them from our daily lives. One of these days, those people who are making a very good contribution to society will be deemed as heroes too. And maybe it might just be you. So we ought to do well so that we can make a good contribution to our nation's development.
Highlighting the reasons why it is necessary to honor persons who have contributed to the country's development, guest speaker at the event, historian Dr. Adrian Fraser, told the students that national heroes and nation builders are persons who have paved the way for others to follow. He further added that all Vincentians should learn to appreciate and celebrate the efforts of persons, their communities, who strive to further develop the nation.
A national hero is someone who has made a contribution to the development of the country. That is, a lot of what you are today, even coming to school, owes a lot to our heroes. Once we became independent, we found it necessary to have our own heroes. And the first hero we selected was Châteaubriand. So we owe a lot of gratitude to Joseph Châteaubriand, and that is why we have tried to honor him. But there are also names of other people who the country thinks might make good national heroes. So expect very soon to hear the names of others. But for our part, I think we need to not only look at the people who are called national heroes, but people in your communities, people in the country who you know, and you think that they have done a good job in whatever field.
There were also a number of performances at the event from students at the school showcasing their interpretation of SVG's national hero and nation builders through song, poems, and dance. Here are some of the highlights.
That's right.
that